In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a Craspedia, also called a billy ball, from flour paste or gum paste. So I just have a small amount of pale yellow flour paste here, and I've actually measured this out. It's 4 grams, as I know that's what will fit into my mould. Whenever you're using moulds, it's always a good idea to have a play around and work out how much paste will actually fit inside first, and then you can weigh it, and then it's much quicker each time you use it. You know exactly how much to put in. So I have some 18 gauge wire here, and I'm just going to begin by bending a hook in my wire in the end, like that. And I also have some edible glue here, and I have a recipe for this on my YouTube channel as well, so I'll put a link to that at the top. So you just want to begin by kneading your paste just until it's pliable, and then roll it into a ball. And if you don't have a mould, you could just use a plain ball of paste, because we're going to add some pollen and petal dust afterwards, which will give it a bit more of a realistic finish. But if you can get a mould, then it does give a much more lifelike finish. So this is one that I bought on Etsy from a seller called Mon Shop, I think. I will put a link to that in the description for the video. But I really like their moulds. They make really good ones that give good impressions, so I definitely recommend checking them out. So what I'm going to do is just dip the end of my wire into some edible glue, and you want a really tiny amount, just enough to sort of moisten the end. And then I'm going to push that into the ball, so it's going about halfway, and you can kind of pinch around the bottom to secure it. Okay, and now this is a slightly fiddly bit, is getting your ball into the mould. So you just want to kind of prise it open, and then I'm just going to slip it in, but rather than pushing the wire in, I'm going to push the ball in. So if you push the wire, you might end up pushing the wire too far within the ball. So I'm just going to sort of slide it in like that, and then you can just move it around. You just want to make sure that you're not misshaping the ball as you do it. And then in order to give a good impression, so I've got the wire sticking directly out the hole at the top, I'm just going to give it a really good squeeze on all sides, and also from the bottom. So turn it upside down, give it a squeeze there, and then again from the top, and just keep giving it a nice firm squeeze, making sure you're not moving the paste around, you're just simply squeezing it in the same place. Okay, and then we will pop this in the freezer for 10 minutes, and that will make it nice and firm in order to remove it nice and easily. So my Craspedia has now had 10 minutes to set up in the freezer, so I'm going to release it from the mould. So very carefully, just peel the mould from around the paste and pop it out. And I just have a little bit here which I'm just going to trim off just with my fingernails. So as you can see, it's left this really nice realistic impression. And so what we'll do is just leave this to firm up completely before adding some dust and pollen to give it a bit of texture and colour. So my Craspedia is now dried nicely, and I'm going to start off by taking some white floral tape and just taping the stem. This just makes it a little bit thicker and gives it a slightly more natural finish, I think, than the plain wire on its own. And it also helps to take the colour when we dust it. So I'm just attaching that all the way down the stem. And then I have some egg white here, and I've got some petal dust. So I've got a yellow and an orange, which are these ones by Squire's Kitchen. And then I've also mixed them in with a bit of fine cornmeal or fine polenta. This just helps to give a bit of a sort of pollen texture to it. So I'm just going to very simply brush a really thin layer of egg white all over. And you want it to be nice and thin here because you don't want too much of the pollen to stick to it. Otherwise you'll sort of cover up the nice impression that the mould's left. So just go nice and thinly with egg white, and this is why egg white is preferable over edible glue, because with the edible glue you'll find that it will stick too much and then you won't be able to see the sort of nice moulded impression. So I've gone all over now. And then I'm just going to dip this and roll it in my pollen. And you want to make sure it's covering all sides. And then really tap off the excess. Let's do a bit more on the bottom. So you want to really tap off the excess so that you can still see the nice texture underneath like that. Okay, now we will move on to dusting the stem. So I've just got a little bit of sort of medium dusky green here and this sort of sandy colour. So I've used these two colours, so it's Rose Leaf and Desert Storm. And I'm just going to dust the stem to have a sort of greeny brown colour. Okay, and then I'm just going to add the slightest little curves in the stem just to give it a slightly more natural finish. And that's it. Super simple, super quick and easy.